Morning.
We have Randy Penny here with us this morning, and I'm very excited about how she's going to introduce to you the program called Remine. I love it, and I think you will too. So welcome, Randy, please.
Good morning.
Hey, Randy, thank you.
Yes, good morning, and thanks for having me. Let me make sure I can share the screen okay. Has anyone used Remine yet at all? Nope, that's all right. That's perfect.
I have.
Lynn has. Perfect. So yeah, we're going to start on the products page. Right away, you'll notice that we have Remine Pro. So there is a Remine Basic out there. You guys have the full version. So there's no upgrade needed for anything I'm about to show you. It's all just a part of your membership. After, if there's stuff you want to learn more about, there is little tutorials on here that will take you through some of the things we're going to talk about. So you don't have to worry, hey, if I want to know how to build a CMA, well, there's just a quick little video to do that. But we'll kind of go through a lot of that. And there is a lot in Remine. It does have an app on your phone, similar to HomeSnap. So you can use that as well, up to whatever you prefer. I will say for a true mobile experience, HomeSnap is easier to roll through, but Remine is good as well. So whichever you prefer. Let me launch it. So really, Remine has a lot of similar capabilities you'll see across apps, right? All of them can search through the MLS listings. All of them will allow you to build a CMA. Some of those we're going to look at today. We're going to look at diving into your specific marketing searches. We're going to look at property research. Those are probably the two of the biggest things that Remine offers that those other ones have, but just not in as succinct a way. So I'm here on Remine. I'm on the daily page. You can come if you want to, very similar to what Matrix has, right? Your listing updates, your market polls. You can see what's going on in the area. You can update zip codes or change days on market. All of that's kind of on that daily page, but we're going to spend a lot of our time in the search option. So I'm going to roll over there. Right away, you'll see that it kept the last search that was done in here. So, and I think, Lynn, this might be yours. So you're okay if I move stuff around in here?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to clear all the filters. And the reason I'm doing that is to make sure that I'm starting a fresh search, because it will always hold your last search. So just in case there's anything weird that happens with your search, clear all those filters. You'll get back to where you need to be. The search bars across the top, it does have the option to search nationwide. That nationwide search is public records only, but it is there. Very useful.
I love it.
So you can always go through and do that one.
Yep.
You can also save searches for yourself or other people. Those will send out to agents or clients on whatever basis you want to send them. And then we're going to talk about carts as well. So there's two tabs here, and Remine just did this. I'm not sure yet why. So the listing piece is here, and that listing piece is only looking at MLS data. The properties tab is looking at both MLS data and public record search. So the majority of the time you want to be on properties, unless maybe you're searching for expired. So you're just looking through that true MLS information. So I'm going to stay on properties just because that's where we're good at. It's going to narrow me in. I can click the little bullseye so that it knows where I'm sitting and it brings me into that area. And then you'll notice all the blue dots because this is both property and public. I'm sorry. Then you can just click on the blue dot to get more information, right? As soon as you do, it pops over to the side. The other things we can do on this map, though, and we're going to go into each of those properties in just a second. You can draw on the map with little drawing tools. You can zoom in or out, and then you have filters. These filters are become really handy when we talk about marketing, because it's the ability to take your market area and narrow it down to say, hey, I want to hit just this subdivision, but I only want to hit the owners who've been there for more than 7 years. Okay. Or maybe I'm looking for the owners from 7 years, but I want them to be absentee. So I'm looking at investment kind of turnovers. Okay. So there's a lot of different ways we can use those filters. But, and I'm going to narrow this down just a second so you can see that screen there. As you're going through these, it can be just as simple as going up and typing in, let's see if they have it here, Wildwood, and bringing up the city. And I can just put that filter on the map and it's going to outline it for me. Now, if we look at that, there's over 10,000 results in Wildwood. So that marketing wise is just too much, right? So we're going to start talking about other things first, about the ability to look at active properties, to go in and refine our results, right? Saying, hey, my buyer wants to look at properties. So now I need to know the list price, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, and all this is pinning that to your board. And then being able to go and click on that value and say, hey, I want 3 to 4. Okay. So we're just using all these tools to filter down our searches. If I click on an active property, you'll notice it kind of pops out, but it leaves the screen behind it. I can hit this option to get it pop out to a new tab completely. This is something, of course, that's very different from Matrix, because in Matrix, we have to have that one open or it starts getting funky. Remine doesn't do that. So you can open numerous tabs. You can have a search on one screen and results on another, so that you can kind of go back and forth between them, which becomes nice if you're doing a CMA or something where you're just looking at data. But let me roll back here. There's a ton of information in Remine, and that's one of its most powerful sources or pieces, is the ability to say, hey, this is single family residence. They've got about 376,000 in estimated equity, which we're going to see a little bit down below. So I'll explain that. They've owned it for 3.8 years, and this is the family trust that owns it. We're going to go over these in just a second, but we want to scroll down. Because this is active, you're getting MLS data that's feeding on top of the public records. So that's what you're seeing first, even being able to reach out to Brandon and talk to him and message him through the system if you want to. You have key statistics, again, all pulling from the MLS, right? And it all gives you the last updated time frame. So you know when that pulled, in case anything changed today that's just not showing properly yet. Public record is where kind of I tell agents, with great power comes great responsibility, because you're about to see a lot of information based on mortgage data and anything that pulls from public record. It is still public record, but not everybody knows that. And so they put it kind of all in one place for you. You can purchase the Plat Map. The only two things I'm going to tell you have any upgrade at all. The Plat Map is $7 and the deed is $1 if you choose to purchase those. Yeah, they're not bad cheap at all. You have all the different maps that you can look at, key statistics, whether that is occupied or vacant, whether it's owned by a corporation. Of course, this was trust, whether it's an absentee owner, the subdivision name. And while we're here, before we get to marketing, keep a tab on this one, because as we search for subdivision, how the county enters it is very important to know how to figure out. All of your different pieces as we keep scrolling. Now this one, they assume it's been paid off 100%. They're not seeing any mortgage information on it. So they're giving you that full value as a net equity. With Remine, if this had been under a mortgage, if it has a home equity line of credit, they give you that information here in the system. It would say active mortgage 1 and active mortgage 2 and so on, depending on what's available. And then based off that, they estimate that equity. They have taxes and assessments. You guys are used to all this and all the different programs, Matrix, HomeSnap. This is where the deeds would be though, if they had those for you to purchase in this information. Schools, another place, they get powered by niche. So you know where those are coming from. Niche is their school rating system. They have community testimonials and different scoring. Valuation models. This is probably the most the most question we get asked in Remine, why am I seeing different valuations here? And is this showing to my client? So you'll notice that the valuations range from 189,000 to 655, and that's quite a range of data, not one you probably want to give your seller. So that's really meant to help you, from Remine's perspective, know what valuation they're seeing out there so that you can talk to it. You know, hey, look how crazy this is all over the marketplace. I've been in this area for a while. I can tell you exactly what range we're more likely playing in versus anywhere from 189,000 to 655, right? Most of the time, if these are on any reports, they're able to be quickly removed. So you don't have to send that to your clients if you don't want to. The only time they will see this and it can't be blocked is if you choose to engage with them, which means you're offering them a mobile version of Remine to search themselves. And then that's on that version. The Air DNA is here. I don't really go into the Air DNA a bunch, but I know you can go in and see different estimates. It's on generating revenue from rental properties.
Oh.
And demographics. So just a short little synopsis. These stats are pulled on zip code +4. So they're in that mailing route versus the whole zip code. And then this one, and in this one, it's not going to be as cool because it's active. Sorry, my mouse. Come on, little mouse. We know where we want to go.
Sometimes it does that.
Yeah, I think it got caught in a groove or something. All right. You'll notice right at the top, we disabled the ability to view owner associated property information when they're actively for sale. So if this was an off-market property, they would have the ability to see contact information.
Which includes email and phone numbers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've gone in there before and seen 3 phone numbers and 2 email addresses. They will tell you if it's on the do not call list. They'll have a little red DNC option.
Right.
So they keep it very much up to date. Remember, it's still public records.
I have honestly checked the numbers and emails and they've been accurate.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Nice. I will say one of my phone numbers is an old house I used to live in Pennsylvania. The other email address is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes it'll differ, but yes, it's free. It's included. You don't have to buy this information from anyone. All right. Let me jump back out of there. I do want to show you an off market. So let me go in and see if we can. Off market piece. You'll notice that in off market, there's also a closed off MLS. That's going to give you any tax record sales in the MLS, or not in the MLS, not in the MLS. All right, gonna scroll through. So here's an off market.
And the phone numbers have been their cell phone numbers, not a landline.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Nice. Those pictures are taking a minute to load up top, but here's Kenneth Henson. So we can look at his, you'll see right here, there's 4 phone numbers, 3 email addresses. You know, you can send an email out, you can send a phone number, or you can give a call. The one thing I always tell agents with email addresses is, remember, you probably want it like in a BCC if you're going to do a group of them at a time or something like that, just so that they're not in that field. But they've also got associated people. So we know Kenneth is the owner. Nyla, maybe that's the wife, maybe that's child. There's also Emma Smith is here. Is that someone who used to live here? Is that maybe a tenant? We're going to go back up here for a second to look at this. He's not an absentee owner. So for some reason, Emma's associated with their property, but is probably not in a rental status unless maybe they have a friend living there as well. So those are kind of ways to play with that data to see the full story before you ever walk through that door. That was the one other thing I wanted to look for, see if this one. Yep, so this is what I mentioned earlier. You're going to see the active mortgage amount, and then they'll estimate that equity based off of that information.
So they have a HELOC too.
Yeah. So I always love that kind of ability to just know before you walk in. All right. I'm going to go back for a second. because we didn't talk about these buttons over here. So you can share these with your client, just a one-off. The one difference with Remine versus sharing from Matrix is Matrix, when they click on the link, they're going to get the full details. Remine's going to send them a short synopsis of the details, and then they're going to have to log in to view more information. So I want people to be very aware of that. So your client doesn't call you and say, well, it's making me log in. You'll just know right away, hey, create a quick login, you'll get right in. And then you won't have to do it every time. You can save these to carts, which we're getting to next. That's the big piece, the funnest piece. You can create a CMA, you can message the agent, you can schedule a tour, similar to HomeSnap and all that, showing time is integrated, or you can print this display. When you print, you have an agent full, a public record one page, a client full, and a gallery view. So you get to choose what you want your client to see. Maybe they don't have kids, so they don't care about schools. Maybe you don't want the valuations there, so you're going to remove all of those. So you can definitely go in and set that however you want to see those prints. The CMA, and I won't go through a full one, but that's a quick 4-step process. Very similar if you're used to a HomeSnap CMA. It's just a very rapid, quick look. It does include closed off MLS listings, and it does have the ability to brand it with your logo, your photo, your color scheme for your office. And that's one that most of ours don't have. So that's a big pull for Remine on that piece. All right, before I get into marketing pieces, any question on that? What we've gone over yet?
The ultimate realtor gift.
How
I'm sorry?
often is that updated?
What's Sweetie?
The ultimate realtor
MLS.
gift.
What would you put on there? The address or the people's name?
The people's name, and it would be on a regular paper.
Mm-hmm.
Is someone off mute that's maybe on a call?
You're not
Okay.
impressed.
Cool. It's cool.
You don't think it would be a good,
I think it's funny. It's
why would you think it's
Rob,
what you give them a
Rob,
brick.
we can hear your call.
the
Rob,
cornerstone of your home?
Yeah,
Your
I
life?
get it. You get it. Yeah.
Rob,
I'm in this class.
I was gonna say, I'm
I
trying
think
to
it's
find
Rob.
the. Okay, I think we're good now. I think I have it minimized.
Hey,
Okay.
Rob, can you mute yourself, please? We heard your
Sorry.
conversation.
Sorry.
okay,
No worries. I was just like, it was perfect timing because I just asked for questions. I was like, oh, there's a person.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here we are. We just went through all the active through the off market. We talked about CMAs. From here, we want to introduce that marketing piece, right? Because that is one of their really cool pieces. Is so I'm here, I kind of zoom in, and maybe I'm looking at Wingcrest Ridge. Maybe I just moved to this area and I'm a new realtor and I want to get my name out to the whole neighborhood. So I'm going to take my little shape tools and I'm just going to draw that rectangle. Okay. Now you can also, of course, put in a name in the search bar. You can go to the advanced tab, which is where searching by subdivision is. You can put in different options, bedrooms and bathrooms, all of that data. But right now, so I have my neighborhood, there's 45 results there. Now, what I could say is, well, if I'm a new realtor, I just wanted to go to everyone, right? So I just select all and add it to my cart. But if I'm looking for absentee owners, maybe I'm trying to target landlords or I'm trying to target renters, then I can use my filters over to the side and say, hey, I only want those who are absentee in-state. I'm not going to do it here because you'll see by the color scheme behind it that there is no absentee in that neighborhood because all of them are two of these blues. So they're corporate and owner occupant. But I could go in and say, well, what if I just want to target someone who's lived in their house for a minimum of 7 years? And now that takes my 45 down to 14. Remine's other piece, and you have distressed properties in here, mortgage rates, last sale price, cash buyers. You can go through all of those. One that agents find a little interesting is sell score. So Lynn, I don't know if you ever use sell score.
Oh, yeah,
But this is
absolutely, yes.
Remine's tool of, hey, how many of these people are likely to sell their home in the next 6 months based off information that Remine pulls from census records and public records data and consumer data trends, which is the one most people find a little creepy because it might be Mary lives in this 1-bedroom home. Mary just got married, or she's a 1-bedroom condo, I'm sorry. She just got married, so that's fine. We're still okay with a 1-bedroom condo, but consumer data trends might tell us that Mary's searching for maternity clothes. So her 1-bedroom condo is going from 1 to 2 to maybe 3 or more people. The likelihood of her moving is higher. Again, it's all going to be that AI, so it's not going to be 100% on point. We don't know their motivation, but it is a good starting place. So I can always go, how many of these 14 are medium to high likelihood to sell? And now I only have 2 out of all 14. So it's going to help me know where to start, but I'm not going to forget the other 12 because you don't know if they're going to sell in 6 months or 9 months or a year because you want your name out there. So once we've kind of put those filters on the map, decided what we want to do with it, then we are going to go select all, and we're going to add it to a cart. You can hold up to 10,000 properties and as many carts as 10,000 properties will fit in. And when you do, you're going to give it a name. Because I'm in Lynn's, I'm going to call this my test, call it an RMP test, so that she knows this is not one of hers. And I'm going to create that. And then I'm going to add those 2 properties to that cart. So pretty quick and simple, right? We're just finding where we want to be. We're going to put those filters on it if we want them. And then we're going to add them to a cart. The great thing about carts is, unlike Realist and HomeSnap, I don't have to go rebuild that search every time. I already have that list and it just sits there until I want to use it. So if and Realist or Remine doesn't have this piece, but if every month I wanted to target that neighborhood, I would just go in every month and that list would still be there. Okay. So I have my 2 properties. I could export them. Maybe I have a CRM and all I need to do is take those addresses and upload it into my CRM. Maybe I want to print the mailing labels so that I can just put them on a postcard and roll. Or maybe I don't have someone who does postcards, or 2 is under their minimum. So I'm going to go to send mailers and I'm going to build a campaign. I'm going to choose what Remine should build for me. Do I want a postcard? Oh, sorry, we need to log you in real quick. Is all this good if I move forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Yep.
They changed it a little bit. Okay, so you'll see if I were to choose 2 4 1/4 by 6 postcards, it would cost me $1.40, and that's with postage included. And then I move forward and design these postcards.
Cool.
So I can roll in and say, move forward. It's going to have a bunch of different templates in all sorts of different options. Here we go. So maybe I'm targeting absentee owners. I'm co-branding. I'm doing a commercial property. Maybe I'm just sending holiday cards, just listed, just sold. So you can see they have all the different options to choose from. And when you choose them, then they might have 1 or 2 cards per topic. You pick it and then you personalize it. You add your photo, your logo, your color schemes, your information. At the end, it says, hey, does this postcard look good? Say, absolutely. It says, would you give me your credit card? And they say, absolutely. And about 24 to 48 hours later, you get an email saying, hey, those got sent off and they're on their way. Remind me, I think they're still running this. There is a, what's the thing they're called? A thing they're doing right now where they're offering 10 free. So if you guys want that, I'm going to get that to Lynn. It's just a code that you put in at the end that will allow you to get 10 free. The reason that 10 could be helpful is I can send one to myself. I can send 10 different ones to myself so that I can see what they look like, so that I see the sturdiness of the card and what I'm actually sending out.
I saw one of them, you could upload your own
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there is an upload your own artwork and you can put in there whatever you wanted to. So however it is. But yeah, agents really love this feature because there is no minimum. All the postage is included.
Sweet.
Yeah, not to take anything away if you're in a relationship with a printer, because they're always good too, but just if you need those little onesie twosies.
Love it.
This is the other piece here. So you guys see where status is.
Mhm.
If I come into this a month later and one of these is active in the MLS, it will tell me
Oh,
that.
it'll change.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna send that postcard to be active on market property.
So the cart is actually live then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's live and just constantly updating
Got
and
it.
feeding more information. Yep, and you can always manage the columns if you want to, or share this cart. So if you're doing a bunch of waterfront properties and you have multiple people looking at those, you can build that cart for them and share this. This is probably the most closely resembling what we do as an auto email, because it really is just a curated list by you that they get to look through. It will send back favorites or add note columns if they need to as well.
I have a question.
Sure.
So those two right there, because they're not active, their email addresses are available. Can I email them
Yes.
from here?
Well, yes, in two ways. So probably the easiest is when you have a list and you want to email them, if you export that list, it has an email column.
Got it.
So if you
Okay.
have 2 or
Sweet.
50, you can just export that
Got
column
it.
and go
Okay.
from there.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's kind of that piece.
Sweet.
Yeah, and like I said, you can have up to 10,000 properties. This is really their key to fame, where agents love them most. And even if you're just using that cell score, agents have found success with it. I can't put a number on it, but I've
Right.
heard so
I get
many
it.
say that they really do like that. So that's a good one. Any questions on that marketing piece? Anything you guys found or want to look at differently?
Do you send
Question?
those mailers out only through the cart, or is there another place where you can send out emails?
So you could export, or I think you can also go through, and this is brand new, where you go through marketing and go that way. But are you meaning just from the cart as a holding place, or I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was wondering if there is like from saved searches or
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, you'd have to go actually from a cart for that, or you'd have to start from this page as well. So yeah, those are really the only 2 places they do that.
okay.
I have a question too. Can you search by the style of home? Can you do just like ranch style homes or just 2 stories or something like that?
That's a good question. I don't think they have style, but we can always ask if that.
Good question.
I was gonna say there's building type, but that's just single family condo.
The feature that said floors, does that mean how many floors or does that mean what type of floors?
That's gonna be, and I would have to actually ask, structures with floors. My assumption is that's gonna be a 1, 2, 3 level, but
Can you click on it? Well, it'll let you. I
yeah,
guess, add
let's
as many
just
in there as
go
you
1
want, right?
to 2 and see what it gives us. So there's 77. Go back to the map and we'll look at this. 4 beds, 4 baths. And if anybody sees it and I'm breezing past it, let me know. 3 levels, so that's, well, 3 levels of finish, so that might include the basement.
Oh, yeah, you don't really know that. That's true.
And it's got a full basement. So, yep, this is a 2-story right here.
Oh, there you go. But it's grayed
So-
out.
Well, this is just because it needs to see all.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Okay.
let me.
So
Because
it's under
nobody's,
it's under the exterior.
that's why I'm like, it should be searchable, but it's
Mhm.
not. So this would work. But I'm trying to think of ranch and those.
If you
It
just
might
say
be
1 to
something
1,
I'm sorry.
You just put in maybe 1 to 1, then instead of 1 to 2, then maybe it'll just pull the range.
Yep, we could try that one for sure. Or let's just go max 1. 26.
All right, there's that one.
I don't think that's like.
There we go, one
That's showing one
story.
story.
There you go. Ah, look at Kay. Ah,
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, if you
There
try
it
it
is.
and it doesn't give you what you want, let us know. We've been trying to work with Remine too to get it closer to the MLS search, because the MLS can do a ton of in-depth searching.
oh,
Whereas Remine sometimes pulls that kind of some more of the basics. So yeah, if there's something you want us to pull and it's on that Remine sheet, let us know, because we'll go to Remine and see for sure. But hopefully that will work. Let me know if it doesn't or does. Any
Can
other
I ask-
questions? On?
Can I ask another question?
Of course.
Not that it's the case show, but on schools, where do they pull that information from? Because, you know, unfortunately, the schools aren't always coded correctly in the MLS. So is
Right.
it pulled from a different source, or is that where it's pulled from?
They pull from niche. So it is pulled from a different source. It comes directly from that niche website. You might even see a difference if the listing agent put in one and then niche says it's a different one. You'll see the listing details at the top say one and that so different. So it is pulling not from the MLS on that field.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to show a couple of the other little crazy stuff. But again, if there are questions on this stuff, let me know, because this is probably their big piece. So they do have the ability, we talked about safe searches. This is engage. So similar to HomeSnap, you have the availability of bringing your client into Remine with you. So they can create their own searches, have an app on their phone. When they engage or when you invite them to engage, the slight difference here between HomeSnap and Remine is that Remine offers them a free credit report when they first get started.
really?
So, and remember that they can skip it. It is a soft pull, not a hard pull on their credit. Of course, we don't want anything to ding right before they're looking for a house.
No.
But right below it, so it will have an email, a plural email with your photo and say, hey, your agent wants to connect with you through Remine. Do you want to take a free credit report? Right below that, it does say skip for now. If they choose to move forward without that, then it will link you and let them into their own basic usage of Engage. Or
So the agent doesn't get that though, right? The credit report.
actually, you're not going to get the credit report, but you'll get what bucket they fall into. So if they
Okay.
have excellent credit, you would come in here and you would see their name. It might say Randy Marie Penny, credit excellence. So you would get that extra piece.
Because we really don't want that.
Right.
Because that's like a big problem.
Yeah. No, you would
Okay.
not see what their
Okay,
number is
perfect.
at all. You
Yeah.
would only know enough to know what's
Awesome.
Yep. So if it did say poor, you could be like,
Yeah.
okay, well, maybe we need to do a little work, not necessarily talking to them, but you know.
If it says poor, call Neil Costello.
Absolutely. So the great piece about these two is it's kind of like autonomously letting them do their search, right? You have a lot of people like, I just want to search on my own and then I'll tell you. Well, this gives them the ability to search, but you're going to follow through with any of the searches they do, because you're going to get to see what they favorite, what they've shared with other people. You're going to be able to see kind of all of that in the background to know when they need someone to step in. So that's kind of the piece with Engage. I would tell you, and this is true of all of them, HomeSnap, Remine, Matrix, test it on yourself first, see what you think, because it's always those weird questions you have. That's the question your client's going to ask too. It's always better to know before.
Right.
But yes, you can chat through the app as well. And you do have a contacts piece. So contacts is where you can add directly from a property. So I could go into a search, find Kenneth Henson and add him to my contact list. or I could add anyone else to that contact list. That gives me the ability to send them carts and save searches.
Good for your database.
Absolutely. Marketing, we've already talked about, right? This is just a different page for that. Kind of talks you through how to do different things. And documents. So do you guys use a dot loop, a DocuSign, a SkySlope, any of those sorts of e-signature?
Be DocuSign.
DocuSign.
Yep.
So this is not going to take over the DocuSign world, but if DocuSign, heaven forbid, were to go down for a day, or you had a file that you couldn't use, you can do that through Remine. And you can do something as simple as take a picture with your phone and upload it. It will turn it into a PDF. You can add signature spots and dates and times and share it with your client, have them sign it, send it, and bring it back to you. Similar to DocuSign, it's going to have all of the background information, where it was signed, who signed it, when it was signed, so that you have that tracking information. Okay. It is similar, you're going to see, to kind of a folder on your email or computer system, that when you click on it, it's just going to show a folder structure, and you can add as many documents as there as you need to. But again, if you're using DocuSign, it's definitely not something I would jump off of that to use Remine, just if you need it for those little one-off pieces of information. It will alert you. So when you go into carts and you export, it's going to give you a big old export. So it takes a minute or two to load. If you're used to an RPR, you're used to probably that couple minute wait. If you don't see it pop up on your screen, it goes to your alerts option right here. Then your support. So if you need any more training or information, they have a wonderful support center, lots of videos, different tutorials on how to do things. And then your name at the bottom is your settings. Everyone will be pro, so you don't have to worry about that. The payments, the credits, those are going to be, I want to purchase a plat or a deed. I want to, I don't think these would have to do with the postcards, because that is through a different company that Remine works with. So I would not probably put those in here. Settings, though, is what I want everybody to kind of pay attention to, because this is where you update all of your consumer facing information. So if I send a listing to my client, I want my photo to be on it. So I want to make sure that's there. As I scroll down, it's going to show me my email, my phone number. You can edit that account information, but it does not override Matrix in Matrix. So how does that work? I go in there, I put in a different contact email. Remine says, oh, they want to use this instead of their Matrix one. So it just, if you go back into Matrix then later and change it to a different one, it's not going to override it. It kind of trumps the MLS data. If there's commercial, there is an add-on for Moody's Analytics. I haven't had a lot of ask for that. So if anybody does need that with the commercial piece, please let me know. I'm happy to get more information on that. The display preferences, add your license number, your name, your email, your cell phone, just so whenever you send something to your clients, it's there. You'll get a custom URL. So I'm not going to type one for Lynn in here, but you'll want to put in whatever you want at the end of that. Remembering, and this is what Remine told us the first time, you don't want it to be like cutie pie 24, because you're going to be stuck with that kind of forever. But you can put in whatever you need and check that availability, whether that's your team name, your personal name, whatever it could be.
You can add my name if you want.
And you want your full name on there?
Yep. It's fine.
Is that spelled correctly?
Yep.
Okay. So then I'm going to check that availability. It says, yep, it's available. Are you sure this wants to be your personal?
Yep.
And then Lynn's is good. So all I have to do now, you'll notice there's a little 2 options at the end. I'm going to click, it's going to copy that. And now I'm just going to go to Lynn's site. So this is if you put it in your email signature, what your clients could go to connect with you as well. All right. So you would do all of this information about your logo, your data, your background image, your welcome message, so that when they click, they're seeing how you set up your listing or your page instead of just the generic, right?
All right.
But it's got current listings, recently sold listings, buyers represented. So it kind of just goes through all of that
How far
information.
back does that go? Like back like Mara's probably, or?
I know that they have all the data, but I think what they display is just the whatever kind of fits on their, I want to say 6 months. But then if they choose to go forward, they're going to sign up and link to you.
Okay.
So that is that URL that we did right here. Add your logo, again, background image, welcome message, put all your social media stuff in there. You can choose what to display. If you didn't want your recently sold listings at the bottom, or you didn't want your active, you could remove those. This is what I do want to point out on your settings, because this was an interesting thing, and I don't know that a lot of agents have used it. Remine allows your client to say, if my agent finds me finds a buyer for my home, I'm willing to sell, even though maybe they're not under contract to sell it at that moment. Kind of I don't know if you've ever heard of a make me move
On
thing that they used to
Yep.
do. So similar to that. So I always like to show agents that, because if you're not aware that your clients are doing that, you don't know what's going on. So you can come in here and turn it off if you want to.
What's it look like? Is it,
I'm trying to remember.
well, we can practice.
Yeah, I would say it's one where if you engage with them, or if you go through that link and sign up with yourself, they will have it on the side, basically find me an offer.
Got it.
Mhm.
Well, in this market, it might be good.
That's true. You never know. Absolutely.
Somebody's got something in the chat.
How far back does it search on recent solds? So all the solds are in there that were from 1998, but as far as the one you're showing, it's only going to be the recent ones. As far as the system itself, it would go all the way back to 1998.
Okay.
So yeah, all that data is there for them to use. It's just what they can display on that page.
Got it.
All right, plan, you're good with Pro. And then this one is very helpful. If you want the app on your phone, Remine has a different login than Matrix does. And you don't see that because it's a single sign on when you click the button. So if you get the mobile app, get it texted to you, because it will text you the download, and it will also text you the connection piece,
Oh.
where it will just connect you through the mobile
So
app.
you just click that and it'll text you
Yep.
the link.
It
Okay,
will offer you, so you'll just put in your phone number and hit send,
got it.
and it will be good.
Perfect.
All right, so what do you guys have for me? Questions? We want to look at some fun searches. Do you have any other questions I can help you with while I'm here?
I personally like the feature that you can do the nationwide search. And I think for me would be if I had someone moving from another city, that I could look up their current home and see what that gives me, what kind of questions do I need to ask them? What do they like about the house they're in? And I can literally see it, like the
Absolutely.
features, etc.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you'd come in here and they were like, hey, I currently live in 7919 Meadow Park Drive. And now I can take a look at that.
See what's going on, how much do they owe yet, if they're really someone qualified to be out looking,
Absolutely.
are they upside down?
Right. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yep, so remember that, guys, and all I did, and Remine can kind of be weird with how it sees cities and things.
Yeah.
So know that it still does put it in there. And there's always a way to either see all the results or go into a more of an advanced search. I find that the speed bar is just not, and I call it a speed bar like Matrix, but that search bar, I'll just hit in the advanced tab and go in there, because a lot of times that will get me closer than having to search on the map. But you can also just kind of move your map around. As long as that nationwide search is checkmarked, when you move, it's just going to follow where you want to be. So you don't have to choose an area if you don't want to. Zoom out. The only problem with the nationwide search is if you zoom out too far, it takes a while to
Yeah,
load the
it
data.
does. Mhm.
So sometimes I turn off the search and then turn it back on when I
But on that nationwide search, you can search for people too, like if you're looking for an address, for example, you know, like you want to keep them in your database, but you don't know where they moved to. They've moved, but
yeah.
you don't know where. They're outside of what our real list, right, with that database.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great idea too. Yeah, because you can type in people, you can type in places, anything that's there that you need to. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm trying, my brain just blanked on something too with that. Because I always use HomeSnap for that as well. Like
Do
I'll
you?
be out and about on vacation and just take a snapshot of the home. And then
Oh,
it just
yeah.
magically pulls up the data. So yeah, they're both very good with the nationwide searches. All right, anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna give
They're
you just.
still on there, right?
Yes, I think
Normally
so.
we'd be asking questions.
Any questions, you guys?
I had one more.
Sure.
On the supplements that are usually added to like the matrix stuff, does that ever populate over to this or no? You know, like
does
disclosures or
not.
surveys?
It does not populate to Remine. It only populates to HomeSnap right now. We've talked to them. I don't think they have the availability yet to add those in. But it is something that we've been looking at. So hopefully sometime. But yeah, no, not right this second. But thank you for asking. That's a good question. All right, guys. I'm gonna give you one quick matrix tip because I love matrix. Everything, let's see. What's the zip code right here?
63011.
Okay, so here's everything active in 63011. The one thing that I really don't know if agents know is, do you guys all add a column to your single line display?
I don't know that I have.
So if you ever need more data on that single line display, you can just type it in and you can have that so you don't have to go to every display to see those fields.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, so I always like to show agents that just because it's something that's
You
super
can leave it- you
helpful.
can leave that. Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. Yeah, like
It will go away when you next log out, or you can save it
yeah, let's do.
and say, this is my single line with subdivision. Did I spell it right so it doesn't look weird later? Nope. All right, I'm gonna save that as a copy. Now, anytime that Lynn comes into her displays, when she clicks on the down arrow, that single line with subdivision will be at the top, and she can always choose to look at that one instead. But those are always super easy. Just kind of hover out to the end of the column heading and insert that column.
I like that.
Yeah, and you can move those all around. Make them however you want to. But, okay, so that's all I have to say. Unless you guys have other questions, I will let you get on to your meeting.
Okay, anybody have questions? Wow.
I have one more.
Everybody's stunned.
Okay, somebody does.
Just full of questions today. So on Matrix, is there a chance that we'll ever be able to forward disclosures to the clients when we send them the MLS sheets?
Oh, gotcha. Unfortunately, I don't think so. I just don't think they have a way to do it and make sure the security feature is there with disclosures. That's usually what CoreLogic tells us about that. Mhm.
Thank you.
Sure. I'm giving you all the no fun answers.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you all for being here. Happy listing, happy selling day.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Thank you.
Bye.